So my name is James Chase. I'm from Chase Distillery. It's a family-run distillery based in Herefordshire, and our name is above the door. They make up everything that we do. It's all down to the flavour of the potato that make our spirits so unique. And we love farming, and it's Herefordshire where potatoes grow particularly well. I think that's really down to my father, who's a maverick potato farmer. Coming from Herefordshire, he loves innovation, so much so that we went from potato farmers to crisp makers at the turn of the millennium. And then from that, we were actually out in New York, and we were researching a few more things with his projects. I think we were trying to buy some deep fat fryers at the time. And when we were over in New York, we saw the rise of craft distilling. And I think it was very late one night in a bar in New York, and we were trying various libations on the back bar, and I think that was one of the light bulb moments that we realised that there was nothing really like this in the UK at that time. Some amazing craft spirits full of flavour and taste. So back in the UK, we brought some of these spirits back with us, and I think in the reception one morning in the company we started tasting, and that was the kind of the moment we said, well why don't we follow this up and look into it and realise that we potentially could make a distillery of our own. Anyway, a few years passed, and we realised that we had a huge surplus of smaller potatoes, too small to make the crisps. So why don't we build a distillery to use up these smaller potatoes? And that's really comes down to your point of why we started. We wanted to turn these potatoes into vodka and some of the spirits that we tried back in America. And then since then we've gone on to make many other things from the potato spirit. Potatoes don't have a huge variance, and we've always used potato varieties that are high dry matter, high starch content. So for us, potatoes are more about the sustainability approach, about sourcing from one farm, as opposed to the different tastes and nuances that you can get. But we use King Edward's, Lady Clare and Rosetta as our kind of three main potato varieties, and we love them very much. I think gin is such a versatile spirit because it has so many different flavours and tastes, and I think for the consumer it's incredibly easy to use at home. The gin and tonic is such a kind of classic serve now that lots of people are using. So I don't think we've used or reached peak gin. I think there's lots of brands and innovation that have come to the market, but I do think we'll start to see a change of serve. And as I mentioned earlier, I think tonic water will come into question because of how much sugar it has. But I think peak gin is here to stay, and I think we'll see lots of entries and innovations coming into the market, which is a really exciting thing. One of my favourite bars in the world is in St James's in London, and there's a fantastic barman in there called Alessandro who loves Chase, and when you're there, I mean, this place wrote James Bond. I think Surrey and Fleming wrote James Bond in the corner of the bar, and Alessandro comes out on a request of a martini with a rickety martini trolley and a bottle of Chase straight from the freezer. With vermouth that's been splashed into the glass, he sloshes the remains onto the floor and pours Chase straight into the martini glass with an Amalfi lemon on the top. So for me, that's my absolute classic Chase serve, but you can't have more than two.